Hello Aquarius, Elsie here to do a reading for you. It's a weekly reading. Aquarius, how you doing, my Aquas? I hope you're well. I'm here with some oracle decks first. We're going to look at these, and we are going to then put some tarot on these to get some more information. And at the end of this video, I am going to tell you about the extendeds and how to get a private read. If you're interested in any of that, hang around. Let's find out what's going on for you, Aquarius. We are on the other side of the Taurus new moon. So let's see what's coming up for you in this new cycle, Aquarius. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and Jupiter. Tell me about Aquarius. Aquarius, we have Let It Shine. I think we're talking about you. This song always triggers the song in my head called Heartlight. I think it's sung by Neil Diamond. Turn on your heart light wherever you go. Let it shine a happy glow for all the world to see. Card number 46 is a 10. I think that something has just ended, or you've come to the end of a cycle. And I think that your heart is hurting, but I feel like you're not supposed to lose hope, I'm going to say. Because regardless of whether the cycle came to an end or not, you still shine. It doesn't have any bearing on how much you still shine. I'm seeing the glint off a sword in my mind's eye. Charlie's showing me. So I'm going to say your sword is still sharp. You're still the same old out of the box, little bit of a weirdo that I love so much. And you still are smart, highly intelligent. You know the way. You know the path. You'll figure it out. There isn't anything that you can't figure out. Let's find out what else is going on here. I think you needed a little bit of a pep talk there. I don't know why it went on, but it feels like somebody needed a pep talk. All right. And then let's find out what else we have. Around midweek, we have Show the World the Real You. Oh, look at this. Full moon in Aquarius. Now, we just had a new moon in Taurus, but listen, full moon in Aquarius, I think you're coming full circle. I'm going to say that it feels like this card 46 is a 10, and 10s are the end of something, right? 10s are cycles. And so I feel like you've come to the end of some sort of a cycle, but I feel like it was because something was supposed to wrap up so you could show the world the real you. It feels like you were probably in a place, a relationship, a workplace, something that was very cumbersome. It was making you blend in or be who you weren't supposed to be or who you didn't want to be. That's what it feels like. So I feel like something here actually ended so you could shine. I feel like it was dulling your shine here. It was dulling the shine of your sword, my friend. You are an air sign, right? Now let's talk about one more card. And we've got the impasse. So I feel as though you couldn't go any further than you had already gone in the situation. Whatever your situation is, whatever your lens is, whatever is troubling you at this time, I feel like you had reached an impasse. I feel like you hit the brick wall. You couldn't go any further. There was nothing left on the path for you to accomplish here. You accomplished what you were supposed to accomplish. You learned what you were supposed to learn from it. And full moons are always about completion or release. And so I feel like if you were released from a workplace, if you were released from a job, or you were released from a relationship, it feels like there was nothing more for you to do here. So I don't think you should blame yourself, is what I'm saying. I think that it was supposed to be that way. We should look here first. Let's look at this first. We've got see the big picture. So I think that this is the universe telling you, look, you got to look at the bigger picture, my friend. You're looking at it from a small point of view. And I feel like you think that this is something you did or something's being done to you. And I don't think that's it. I feel like this happened so you could see from the top down, because giraffes have a very different view of the world than all the other animals because they're 9 feet in the air, right? We've got card number 29, which is an 11. And I feel like this is telling me that something is about to show up for you that is going to balance you out, because 11s break down to a 2. Bottom of this deck, a fiery climax approaches. Look, that's what I feel like. I feel like somebody here is going to lose something that they don't want to lose, and then they're going to blame themselves if this is something that's going on in the future. I'm not saying you're going to lose anybody to death. I'm not saying that you are going to lose your job. I'm saying that something is going to change or is going to come. It's going to reach its peak. And I feel like it could be over like an argument or something like that. We've got the fierce climax approaches here. But the full moon in Aries tells me it's a fiery ending is what it feels like. A fiery climax is about to approach. So something is about to end. You could be having an argument with somebody and then that's it. That's the last time you talk to them. Let's find out what else is going on here. Let's look at the bottom here. We've got the desert passage. this is a very small and narrow passage. Trust there's a divine plan. I feel like you came to a bottleneck is what it feels like. You came to some sort of bottleneck, my friend. And after that, now the world opens up for you. But I feel like you were in a place that was squeezing you. You were in this place, and I feel like the other side of this bottleneck is joy. It says grace and gratitude. Through gratitude, joy expands. So I feel you're supposed to be grateful for whatever is about to come to its climax. Whatever is about to end, I feel like you're supposed to be grateful for it because it is actually leading you to a path of expansion, is what it feels like. I think that the universe can see more for you than you can see for yourself. Let's find out what else is going on here. Let's get the tarot on the table. Tell me about Aquarius. All right, got a lot of swords here. Swords, swords, and swords. So I feel like that this justice here, you see what I mean? The 10 is here. That's the end of the cycle. And then justice shows up. There was no other way it could be. This thing came to an end, this friendship or whatever it is, it came to an end because it was supposed to balance you out. I feel like you were out of balance when it came to whatever the situation that you were in. It feels like the 10, the end of the cycle, is the justice. The justice is you may feel pushed out. You may feel like it's your fault that you lost a friend. You may be blaming it all on yourself, but I think it was justice. It was recalibration, to me, is what justice is. It's recalibration. It's really living truthfully. It's also restoration. I feel like your life is being restored to a point where you can now finally shine the heart light. The peacock is a royal bird. It's very proud, as you have heard. I'm quoting the song of a childhood song that I learned when I was in grade 5. Struts as only peacocks can and spreads its lovely colored fan. And that's what brings everybody running. Look, you cannot hide from the attention that you get. You're never going to hide from it. There's something else around the corner. Because when 10s and cycles end, that means that something's about to begin. That's the only reason that something ends. Tell me about justice and the peacock spirit. We have the 4 of Wands in the reverse. For some of you, it may be Sorry, I feel like I need to pick these up. There was a log that fell. So for some of you, it feels like it was a relationship. It could have been a new relationship. It feels like it was something that was stable and happy and celebratory until it wasn't. It feels like some sort of foundation broke down or... I'm seeing Charlie is showing me. Charlie, by the way, is my guide and gives me clairvoyancy pictures. And so I'm seeing a bunch of people on a deck outside the house, and the deck is swaying both like back and forth. So it feels like something was not on stable legs anyway. It was only a matter of time that justice was going to show up to make everything balanced again. But sometimes getting back into balance means you have to end things. And because I feel like this was out of balance, right? The 4 of Wands in the reverse. This could be a friendship or a love ship. It could be you were living with someone. It could be a roommate situation. We've got the 9 of Cups. I think you're going to realize that eventually after this closes, and you may not realize it until you get into the next phase of the next cycle, but the 9 of Cups is here. This was actually happening for your benefit, to bring you back into alignment with self. And when the 9 of Cups is here, it's like, I'm happy on the inside, happy on the outside, and I don't need external validation. And it feels like maybe you were searching for external validation in the last situation that ended, and I feel like that's just not for you. But I feel as though this is telling me that balance and bringing something back into alignment was what you needed, and that's why it ended. Look, I can't even with this tarot stuff. The 10 of Swords is about the release. I feel like, look, I'm not laughing, okay? I'm not laughing. I was laughing because of the tarot and how it comes up when it answers a question I have immediately. That's how it happens when you're the Empress. It comes up immediately when you ask a question, the answer is right there. So the 10 of Swords tells me this is betrayal. This may have hurt you, my friend. You may have felt betrayed in the worst way. And maybe you ended up walking away because you felt betrayed. But it feels like it might be painful, it might be hurtful, but the fact is the 10 is the end of the cycle, and although it's painful to be there and to get there, it's also about a release. Now you get to release this and actually be who you're going to be. Because I feel like if this was a relationship or a job that wasn't working or whatever this was, it feels like it was making you act out of character. Yeah. It was dulling your shine or dulling your sword. Feels like that. You weren't supposed to be there. That wasn't the part of your path. You were supposed to learn something there, but you weren't supposed to stay there forever. But look, you're a fixed signs like me. Like you felt like you were going to stay there forever because you always intend to do that. We've got the Nine of Swords and we've got show the world the real you. And I think this is the worry. The worry is I feel like you had a path. You decided to bulldoze the path and said, this is where I'm going. This is where I'm staying. I'm never changing from here. This is it. And I feel like the Nine of Swords wouldn't let you alone. I think you knew it. Internally, you knew it. That something was up, going on behind the scenes, under the surface. There was something that was, I feel, making you feel maybe not nervous, because I don't necessarily think you were nervous about it, but something didn't feel right and you couldn't put your finger on it. So I feel like it had to come to an end, or it had to wrap up, right? Full moon in Aquarius here. It had to wrap up and you had to release it. So you would have the opportunity to show the world the real you. And who are you? You are the peacock. You're beautiful. You're different than everyone else. And the sunshine here, I think that letting let it shine means you have a light that you emit that nobody else does. Look, Aquarius, sun, you are the most rare placement for a reason. For a reason, man. Because, first of all, we can't have that many of you on the earth at the same time. But because you are that powerful, I'm going to say. Okay, so we have the Magician in the reverse. I feel like you felt there was something going on under the surface, whether this is a friendship, a relationship, a loveship, a marriage, I don't care what it is, a workplace. Something was going on. There was a manipulation going on underneath the surface. And I think that you felt that something was going on because it made you feel nervous or made you feel unsettled or something like that. I think you knew that something was going on, but you didn't want to be accusatory. You didn't have enough details to make a judgment because you're all about clarity. Give me the details, the facts, the receipts. And you didn't have that. And so you weren't able to make a decision here. Yep. I feel like you were mining data here because the Two of Wands is making a plan. So if you're in a job, you may have already been making a plan, looking online, looking at jobs. Maybe I need to change. And then something else happens. So I feel like you're already prepared is what I'm going to say. For some of you, your little psychic selves, your energy, I feel, is preparing you because you feel like there is some sort of manipulation going on underneath the surface. And I feel like when you get up to show the world the real you, they're not going to like it because they're going to see exactly who you are. You're truthful, you're honest, and you come with all the receipts. We've got the King of Wands. Yeah, I feel like you're going to stand up. So the King of Wands adds to the Two of Wands. The King is always holding a wand, and adding that to the 2 is 3, and that tells me that you're out of there. There's a new adventure. Life is opening up its doors for you and saying, look at the ships that are coming in. You have so much coming up for you here that you don't have to stay in one place if you don't want to. The impasse is here. And the thing is that the Ace of Pentacles is here. I really do feel like you planted your seed and you did it with, I feel like you did it purposefully, that you were somebody who said, okay, this is where I'm going to plant the seed. This is where I'm going to invest my time, effort, energy, money, my health, wherever. And I feel like, unfortunately, you ended up hitting the wall. But, we've got the squirrel here is very industrious, and you can see that there's a whole lot of other acorns around this squirrel. This is not the only acorn, my friend. It feels like you are about to hit an impasse, a place where you can no longer ignore what's going on around you, and it is time for you to hit the brick wall here. Something here is not going any further than this. We've got the Lovers here. For some of you, it could be a relationship, but also understand that it was your choice to plant here. And that being abundant, you felt like it was an abundant place to plant your seed, to grow a garden, right? You felt like this was going to be it. This is what was going to work for you. And then we have the Death card. It does come to an end, right? It all goes down in flames. It feels like it gets burnt to the ground. So it says here the reflect and redirect your energy card. It feels like that you did start looking for a job. You started feeling like the relationship wasn't working. You felt like the friend was doing something behind your back. It feels like you already knew it. Your intuition was trying to ping you or tell you, and then the Death card shows up. Yeah, and it burns it all to the ground. Something here had to end and hit the wall. Like it feels like something here hit the wall. We've got the Queen of Cups. It feels like you feel emotionally, I'm going to say it was very emotionally taxing for you, or it will be emotionally taxing for you. It feels like you feel defeated emotionally. because when you go in, you go all in, right? You're like going to give them everything. And I feel as though something here comes to an end, but it feels like it really hurts you deeply and emotionally, but you're never going to let anybody see that on the surface, right? But it feels like it really does transform you emotionally. This is a really huge lesson. I feel like you chose to invest in someone, something, a job, whatever it is, a career path, and I feel like it just doesn't work out the way you wished it would. But I feel like it's for a purpose, understand? Because this fiery climax there's a purpose for it. Aries is about moving forward, moving fast, going to get it, and I'll figure it out when I get there. And so I feel like you were supposed to move forward, but you had to see everything from the top down first. You need to see the bigger picture. And I don't think you were seeing it up until when you hit the wall. And so I feel like the desert passage, it was like squeezing you until finally you realized, yeah, this is not for me. So I'm going to put down 3 cards here. This usually ends up being maybe your advice or maybe what the outcome is. But after that, we're going to go into the extended and I'll tell you how to get there. Tell me about what is coming up next. We've got the 4 of Swords. So you are going to go through a great healing, like a really big healing. It does feel like there is... you're being healed right now. Like when this goes down, whatever it is, it feels like you will go through a deep healing. And it feels like it's preparing you for something else because the moment of alchemy is showing up as the healing. So no more high highs and low lows for wherever you were, the relationship, the job, whatever it was. And the 4 of Swords tells me you just may keep to yourself for a while. It feels like there is a lot of intense healing going on, but I think also with Temperance here that you're already being prepared for the next phase of the next leg of the race or the next phase of your life. And so I feel like this new moon that is showing up is new moon in Taurus is like everything had to get organized. Taurus is organized. Taurus is slow, loyal. You had to figure out who I'm going to be loyal to, really, who am I going to give my time, effort, and energy to. I feel like that was all supposed to happen the way it did, because I feel like you are being healed for another phase of another cycle, right? Which is we are all in the new cycle. I just think that you're the overthinker of the whole bunch, of the whole zodiac, and I think you're going to think it to death. It feels like you felt like, I'm going to say that something ends without your consent. So it feels like something happens that ends without you saying this is the end, and that's the problem. Because I feel like you don't like for someone to cut you off or tell you this is the end. You're usually the one that does that. You're usually the one who's in charge of saying, I think I've gone long enough here. But I think someone else does it to you. And I feel like that's why you're going to need the extra healing. But once you see it from the top down and you get the view you're supposed to have to see, oh, okay, that's what was going on there. Because hindsight is 20/20, right? Bottom of the deck, look, there's already something in the works. Friend, look, you've already got a new opportunity on the way, and that's the truth. And so I feel like you were being removed from one thing because the opportunity is showing up, and we got to get you the hell out of there. We got to burn it to the ground. Otherwise, you're going to go and try and save people from the burning building. We just got to get rid of it because the new thing is coming. We're going to go to the extended. We're going to talk more about this. I will clarify all of this. We'll talk more about it. If you want to be in the extended with us, please look at the comment section. Above the comment section, there's one pinned comment, and if you click on read more, you'll see 2 links. One is for the membership area, which is where all the extendeds go, and the other one is for private reads. If you're interested in a private read, click on that link. You can look at my prices and packages. They begin at $25 and go up from there. I'm going to go, but I'll be back because I'm always back. Never leave you out here in the wilderness by yourself, Aquarius. I'm going to go for now, but I'll see you in the extended if that's where you are. Take care. Bye-bye.